fourth part in our series for mapping for Elite Force RPGX. During this session, we are going to look at how to create curves, multi-sided shapes, and how to angle things in different ways. So here we are again in our room. It's quite empty at the moment. Ooh. If I can look in it, there's nothing here. So we want to do some fun things, like put a curve all the way around the one end. Now, we can do this by inserting a block, so we will start off by selecting a wall to get the right height. We can then draw our box in the space we want our curve. We can then go to the curve menu and select end cap. You'll notice this has actually gone the wrong way. So what we can do is drag it up like that. Use the rotate button and then drag it into place. So now down here you've got this curved wall, and you can make that as big or small as you like. So that's now a large curve taking up about half the room. You can do a similar thing for a bevel, which will only do the one bit. We can stick that in this corner. But wait, it's the wrong way round. When you create a curve, it only has one side that you actually have textures. So what we need to do is invert it, which is on the curve menu, matrix, invert. And there we have it visible on the side we want. You can also create other things such as cylinders. Bear in mind, the smaller you get, the less sides they have. Here is basically a square, but the larger it goes, the more round it would actually become. So that is basically curves there. So what if we wanted to create a different type of shape? I want a 5-sided one. Well, we'd have to start off with our basic block, and we can go on to brush and select 5-sided. And there we have one. If you want, you can then go back and select a different one to change it again, or set it to as many sides as you like. For example, 25, it's nearly a cylinder. So let's go back to 6-sided. And this is a great example for showing the next little trick, which is if you have a block selected and you press the V key, you suddenly see all these green dots appear. And with them, you can manipulate the shape. Of course, for best manipulation, you will want to be on the best view for the grid, which is number 1. So you've got the most control. Of course, you don't always get perfect control because they can still fall outside of those things. So I can then change this to be however I like. And I can actually do it from other angles as well. And create some really odd shapes. Same applies also to squares. I can go in, press the V key and change them. So you can do things such as this. If you want to copy something, you can copy and paste and then use the flip keys, if you can find the right one, which I always struggle with, till you find it goes the right way, and then you can just drag it in, and you've just created a much more complex shape from 3 components. You can also do this on a curve. When selecting the curve, you've got to make sure you're outside of it as well, otherwise they don't select. Here you'll notice you've got pink points as well. These change how that area operates. And you can do all sorts, especially when you look at other bits. You can do some very interesting things. Such as this, which has made a sort of dome. Of course, it has pulled in the one side. So when you are doing things like this, you need to work with them and make sure you are looking at all the various bits. Okay. You can also use similar methods to create patches. Patches can be used to put a texture on that will not mess around when you move them, which you might encounter later on in the next tutorial when we are looking at textures in more detail. These are simple patch meshes. That creates just a very simple thing. You'll notice as I move it, the texture stays as one bit and zoomed at a set level. I can go in, change the view, and actually move them. So I can create a curve like this if I wanted, and change it accordingly. So it is very much something you want to play around and experiment on your own. There isn't a map for playing with this on. You just need to use a map you create yourself and just play around in a room. You can then compile them and actually see what they look like in the actual game. In the next section, we're going to be looking at inserting models such as shuttlecrafts and how to create a texture that you can then use in game, where you can create some even more wacky things when you start making your control consoles. So join us then for more mapping fun.